as I was as I was saying, uh, metaphysical poetry emphasized on platonic love or spiritual love. For example, what is platonic love? Like, if I write a poem and if there is a lover in the poem and also a beloved, so if the lover says that, I mean, if he tells the beloved that I will love you even after death, okay, even after your death, I will continue to love you and I will not love any other person. So this is an example of platonic love. That means his soul, his soul is united with the soul of the beloved, and he cannot live without her even after death. Even after the death of the girl, he cannot, you know, think of, continuing another relationship, another love affair with anyone else, because he is madly in love with her. His soul is connected with her soul. Okay, so two souls become one soul. This is called platonic love, spiritual love. It is not physical love, it is spiritual love. So metaphysical poetry, they emphasized spiritual love. I hope you understand. Hello.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
it is
sir.
also called platonic love. Why platonic love? Because the Greek philosopher Plato, he actually, for the first time, he gave importance to the unification of souls. All right. In love, if two souls are united, this is pure love. According to Plato, the Greek philosopher Plato, physical love is not so important, but the love of the souls is more important. All right. So from his name, Plato, Platonic love began. All right. So as I told you earlier, a little bit about the use of intellectualized element. So next characteristic of metaphysical poetry is wordplay and wit. Wit, W-I-T. Wit means, intelligence, something, use of your intelligence, your smartness, saying, doing, or writing something in a different way that makes us think about something deeply. If I give you an example, in dance poem, a valediction forbidding morning. This is the name of the poem, a valediction forbidding morning. In this poem, John Donne has used a wit. This is the line: I saw eternity on the other night. I saw eternity on the other night. So this is an example of wit. You are saying something which makes you think. I mean, which makes other people, or which makes the readers think deeply. When John Donne says, "I saw eternity on the other night. What does it mean? How do you feel actually as readers? Anyone?
He maybe tells about the life after death, I think.
I saw eternity on the other night. So this is, I mean, you can explain it in different ways. Naim will say, okay, maybe the poet is talking about death. Another person, Kausar, may say, no, I think he says something different by this line. So you see, your explanation, your thinking varies, right? It varies from one person to another. Sometimes your explanations become same. Naim's explanation and Kausar's explanation may become same, but most of the time they are different. I saw eternity. Here E is capitalized. Now you tell me, anyone. Here E is a capital E. Eternity. E is capital. Now any idea? What is this
Sir,
eternity?
obviously, I think it is obviously about death.
Death. But why is E capital? From the girls, anyone?
Sir, symbolic word, that's why.
Symbolic. Okay.
Maybe.
Actually, here eternity means, the Almighty God, because here E is capitalized. I mean, it's my explanation. Okay, you may agree, you may disagree, but you see, when we in English, when we use capital letters, especially capital letters, we use to mean, to indicate God. When you are talking about God, and when you write He, for example, there is God, full stop. I know He exists. Now I know He, H, capital letter or small letter?
Capital, sir.
Do you understand, everyone?
Sir, God যেহেতু
Yes,
সম্মান
sir.
করে তো ক্যাপিটাল এই দেওয়া হয়।
Capital H. I know He exists. H is capital. Now here I saw eternity. E is capital. So here capital, it indicates God, the Creator, the Almighty. Okay. So when the poet says, "I saw eternity on the other night," that means it is something different. We read the line and we think, how is it possible? What does he say? What does he mean by this line? Why does he write such sentence in the poem? So it makes you think. So this is called, wit. All right. So in metaphysical poetry, we find another feature, another characteristic, which is, actually they all had a religious sentiment. All right. They were not atheists. In Bangla, Nastik, they were not atheists. And they had a religious mind, religious mentality, and they wrote poetry about the humanity of life. You know, we should be kind, we should be gentle, we should be good. we should behave well, our behavior should be well. So in their poetry, we see all these things. Even in Jacobean age, that means 17th century poetry. In Jacobean age, Shakespeare was also there. All right, mostly Shakespeare was Elizabethan dramatist, because he was there when Queen Elizabeth was alive. She was the queen, but after her death, Shakespeare was still living. He did not die. So Shakespeare, we can also call him, uh, you know, partially Jacobean, because he died in 1616. So even in Jacobean age, Shakespeare was writing. For example, his dramas like King Lear, written in 1605, Macbeth, written in 1606, The Tempest, written in 1610. So you see, uh, he was there even in the Jacobean age. You must remember, I told you earlier, Jacobean stage started in 1603 and it ended in 1625. All right. So now I'm going to say
Yes.
something about, the characteristics of 17th century poetry, or the poetry during the Jacobean age, or the metaphysical poetry, I have already discussed. Now I am going to say something about the Caroline era. After the Jacobean age, the Caroline age began. Okay, so what is Caroline age? Actually, Caroline, the word Caroline has come from the Latin word Carolus. Carolus. In English, Carolus means Charles. All right, Charles. So, as I told you, at that time, Latin was the most common language. It was an international language at that time. So, Latin words were used more. So, from Carolus, the name Caroline came. So, King Charles, actually, if if I say it was a Charlian age, just for example, it's a joke.
হ্যালো স্যার,
From
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
Walaikum Salam. So from Charles'
স্যার,
name, yes.
স্যার আমি ফার্স্ট লিঙ্কটা তো অনেকক্ষণ ধরে ট্রাই করতেছি, কিন্তু এন্ট্রি হতে পারতেছি না। প্রথম থেকে ক্লাসে ছিলামই
Okay,
না।
don't worry. You can hear the recording later. So I'm
ওকে স্যার।
discussing the Caroline age now. So you see, when Charles came to the throne, Charles the First, he took power. Actually, he was the son of father. What should I say? I mean, he's the son of James the First. Okay. So James the First was the king of Jacobean age. So after his death, his son Charles the First became the king in 1625. All right. So if I say it was a Charlian age, because his name was Charles, so it should be Charlian or something, but it's not Charlian. The age is called Caroline. Why? Because in Latin language, Charles means Carolus. So that's why the age is called Caroline age. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So in that age, Caroline age, we see the Cavalier period. Cavalier poets. Cavalier poets, not metaphysical. In Jacobean age, we saw metaphysical poets. Now, in Caroline period, we saw the Cavalier poets. Who were the Cavalier poets? Number one, Thomas Carew. Thomas Carew. Number two, Richard Lovelace. Number three, John Suckling. These were the three main Cavalier poets. Okay, and these poets supported King Charles the First. They appreciated the king, and the king also loved them because, you know, the Cavalier poets, they wrote poetry appreciating King Charles the First. And even King Charles, he was a supporter, he was a sponsor of the Cavalier poets. He always inspired the Cavalier poets. Interestingly, the Cavalier poets, they followed Ben Jonson. They did not follow much William Shakespeare, but they followed Ben Jonson more. And these Cavalier poets, they were against metaphysical poetry. They did not like metaphysical poetry. They hated metaphysical poetry. All right. And Cavalier poetry, they gave importance to, you know, to express the joys and celebrations of life. And they mostly wrote about, you know, physicality, physical love, sensuality. They celebrated beauty, beauty of nature, beauty of the beloved. All right. They wrote about love, especially physical love. I have already told you. They wrote about nature, you know, mother nature, natural world. They wrote about sensuality. All right. Physicality, sexuality, drinking, honor, social life, and so on. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Actually, they wanted to enjoy the life to the fullest, and their poetry is the reflection of how they were. They were free. There was no, you know, tension. They wrote poetry about whatever they felt like, and they did not write about philosophy. They did not write about religion. Uh, you know, because they hated the metaphysical poetry. Metaphysical poetry wrote about philosophy, wrote about religion, and so on. So the Cavalier poetry, they did not write about all these things. And the metaphysical poetry uh, wrote about Platonic love, unification of the souls, pure love, divine love. But Cavalier poetry wrote about, you know, sex, having sex, physical love. So Cavalier poetry is just opposite to metaphysical poetry. Uh, in fact, in some of the Cavalier poems, we also see, you know, the description or reference to the Platonic love, but not much. In some poems we see the mentioning of the Platonic love. Okay, so I hope you understand. And this Caroline age,
Yes, sir.
this Caroline age ended in 1649. It started in 1625 when Charles I became the king, and ended in 1649. Okay, so as a summary, I'm going to say that I have started today's class with 17th century poetry, especially Jacobean age, or the age of metaphysical poetry. So I discussed the characteristics, and I also told you about some of the major poets and their works. Then I discussed the Caroline age, the Caroline era, and its characteristics. All right. So
Okay, sir.
I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
If you have any questions, you are free to ask.
No, sir, it's okay.
Anyone else from the boys?
No, sir. That's clear
I think very easy, right?
and awesome.